We're pleased to welcome to the Lily Main stage The Power of Self-Leadership, presented by Anna Stewart.
Hello, thank you for being here. The goal of my speech today is to remind you of your power and to remind you that we are co-creators of our reality. A lot of crap has been handed to us. The world's problems can feel so big, so impossible, so big, and so discouraging. We have politics and healthcare and education and all these other things that are weighing us down. On top of that, we have the problems in our own families. We have our family members who are dealing with mental health, who are sick, our kids who are struggling in school, who are being bullied. And it can feel like everything is too big. In addition, women are still fighting for equality. Society has taught women to be palatable. We are taught to be accommodating, to be nice, to be good girls, to not make too much noise, to not fuss. We are taught to silently carry the load and never ask for help. We're supposed to be the best wives, the best mothers, the best friends, the best sisters, and never ask for help. Like a lot of women, this caused me to become a people pleaser. I thought I had to sacrifice myself in order to make others happy. I thought that was my role. I thought that was my value. I thought that I had to play small and make everyone else feel big around me. I thought that was me being noble, me being good. That's how I found my worth. I found my worth in serving others. This resulted in me being busy from sunup to sundown. Like my friends could count on me if they broke up with their boyfriend at 3 a.m. in the morning, they knew they could call me because I would rush in and save them. If you needed to be carted across town, like you could count on me and I wouldn't even hold you accountable for giving me gas money back. I focused so much on being an overgiver and overdoing for my friends and making sure that my friends could count on me, but I never questioned, could I count on my friends? I especially abandoned myself in romantic relationships. And this resulted in a lot of emotional and physical abuse. But I felt like I was no good because what is a woman if she doesn't have a man? What is she if she is not working to become a mother and to become married? Because that is where her value lies. I had a guy tell me one time that the reason why he stayed is because he liked how me loving him made him feel. He liked the benefits that he got from me giving to him and over loving him. And that didn't even give me a red flag because I felt like, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm so glad that he's happy with the way that I'm loving him. And again, I never questioned, was I receiving the love from him that I deserved? Has anyone ever found themselves like someone tells you through their actions or through their words that they don't love you, and you take that internally as a message that like, oh, that means I need to work harder to earn their love. I need to do more. Instead of being like, okay, you don't love me, let me find someone who does. No, it's like it's a challenge, right? I tried to escape toxic relationships by moving across the country. I had this great idea that I was gonna move to Texas and I was gonna I was gonna have new relationships with new people who loved me, and I was gonna have an amazing job and have an amazing experience. However, what I found when I moved to Texas is I started recreating the same exact type of relationships. I remember having an epiphany one day. I was leaving a guy's house, another guy who wanted the girlfriend benefits but wouldn't give me the girlfriend title, another guy who was a situationship who I mostly only saw late at night or when it was convenient for him. And I was just staying in that relationship and hope that one day he would see my worth and one day see that I was valuable and had the girlfriend or worthy of the girlfriend title. And I remember leaving his apartment one night and I looked up at the window and I just said to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep continuing feeling like no one is giving to me and I'm giving to everyone else all the time. And I realized that I had to take control. I had to take back focus and I had to start doing less. I'm going to share with you more on how I do less in a minute. Women worry too much because society has taught us that we have to be likable in order to maintain status. You want a promotion, you gotta be likable. You want a husband, you gotta be likable. You want good friends, you need to be likable. So Sheryl Sandberg, who was the previous COO of Facebook, she called this a likable penalty. Likableness has become about survival for women, and it has resulted in us being terrified to be our true and authentic self because we are worried that we won't be the best mother, the best wife, the best sister, the best employee, the best boss if we show up as our authentic self. And when women do try to go against the status quo, they're told they're selfish if they don't want kids because you don't know real love if you're not a mother, and you're defective as a woman if you're not a mother because you are defined as your quality of a woman as in relations to others, not on how you stand on your own. And when women want to climb the corporate ladder, they found themselves in situations where they get to the table with men and men are still like, you can be here, but don't interrupt us talking. And if you do decide to become a mother, how dare you not be the primary parent? You have to be the one who takes off from work. You have to be one that goes to all the PTA meetings. You have to go to all the field trips, all the play dates. And if you miss even one tiny thing, you're a horrible mother. As a result, women have been taught that choosing themselves is wrong. And this is why women are scared to practice self-care and self-love. And then if we fail at the system, or fail at doing this, we fault ourselves instead of faulting the system. This is why women are too hard on themselves, and this is why women are worrying about too much about the wrong things. What we don't realize is how much emotional and mental energy we are sacrificing in doing this. In addition to emotional and mental energy, we're also sacrificing our health. In 2019, the British Heart Foundation found that the gender gap, the way women are seen, causes women to die unnecessarily because they are 50% more likely to be diagnosed with the wrong diagnosis initially. How many have ever felt ignored by a doctor? All right, there's a lot of us. Things have changed, but things have also stayed the same. UNICEF says that worldwide, adolescent girls between the ages of 10 to 14 are twice as likely to spend excessive amounts on household chores than boys. It equates to about 21 hours. And Macmillan says in the US, women spend 4 hours a day on household chores, while men only spend 2.5, despite the fact that most of these homes are two-income homes. Parents are still, according to Macmillan, parents are still more likely to teach their sons breadwinning skills over their daughters. You may have heard this a lot when you hear the Barbie speech that just went viral recently with the Barbie movie, or Camille Ranville's poem, or the Cool Girl monologue. And when you hear these speeches, you might say to yourself, screw the patriarchy. I agree, this is wrong. However, you still believe that you must maintain likableness, and as a result, your actions match that belief, and you are terrified to be the authentic and real you because you don't know what you will lose if you let your guard down and allow people to see for who you are. Again, like I said, my goal here today is to remind you of your power and that the system is not too big to break. The key is to do less, not more, in order to elevate. And a lot of goal-oriented women, when they seek to achieve and do more, they think about adding more to their to-do list. And this is why we struggle to reach our goals. Because we're like, oh, I want to get a promotion, I want to do this, I want to do that. And they're like, what can I add? What do I need to do more of? Instead of considering everything that they're already spending and where they need to do less. We must not forget the control that we do have in this world that allows us to be co-creators. The control is you. The control that you have over yourself, and it is impactful, and it is meaningful, and it makes a difference. We must stop focusing on doing and start focusing on being. The burden of being performative is heavy, and we must be brave enough to let that down. We have to do less. And by doing less, I specifically mean less being hard on ourselves, less worrying about what other people think about us, less taking on responsibility for the success and happiness of others, and less avoiding conflict. We must choose ourselves rebelliously. So how do we do this? We do this through self-leadership. Positive psychology says that self-leadership is the practice of understanding who you are, identifying your desired experiences, and then intentionally guiding yourself towards them. I created a framework for you to help you do this. It is called the ABCs of Authenticity, and I'm really excited about sharing it with you here today. I won't be able to go into depth about every single part of it, but I will share every piece of it, and I hope that it encourages you to be brave enough to be yourself and realize how much you can have when you take back control of your energy and your focus so that you can create space for the clarity and space for the goals, the joy, the peace, the fulfillment that you deserve. So the first part of the ABCs of authenticity is alignment. Everybody say alignment. Alignment. Yes. Okay. So alignment starts with the care of yourself. And I don't just mean bubble bath self-care, although bubble baths are amazing. I'm not knocking bubble baths. I mean actual care of yourself. How are you taking care of your mental, your emotional, your physical, and your spiritual health? What are you doing on a daily basis to take care of yourself? The second part of the ABCs, or second part of alignment, is love of yourself. And I know we live in like a diet culture society that is a multi-billion-dollar industry where all they do is tell us about how inadequate we are and how many things we need to change about ourselves to be worthy of love, but they're wrong. And you do deserve to love yourself. The third part of alignment is values. How many in here know your top 3 values? Ooh, I love it. Okay. For those of us who don't know our values, it is incredibly important to get in touch with what your values are, because your values are how you decide what success means to you. It's how you get rid of the noise of what everybody else is telling you that you need to be doing and you should be doing, and you get to decide for yourself what is important and how you want to live. It's how you operate in integrity and have faith that you are making the right decisions for yourself. The second part of the ABCs of authenticity is boundaries. Everybody say boundaries. Thank you. So when I talk to clients about enforcing boundaries, sometimes they get a little confused about who's responsible. And so I'm going to ask you guys a question. If I set a boundary for you to not call me after 9 p.m., and then you call me at 9:30 p.m. and I answer the phone, who violated the boundary? Miriam. All right, I love it, yes. If you didn't say you, it's me. It's me, I violated the boundary. And a lot of times when we set boundaries, we're like, okay, I told them not to do this, and they keep doing it. You are responsible for enforcing your boundaries. This is how you stop taking responsibility for others and how you stop overextending yourself. The second part of boundaries is responsibility for yourself. The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F by Mark Ronson is a really great book that talks about fault versus responsibility. And essentially what he says in that book is you might not be at fault for everything that happened to you. Like we talked about, a lot of stuff has been given to us. The cost of living is crazy. Groceries are really expensive. We might not be at fault for everything that happens to us, but it is our responsibility to take initiative, to take control and decide what we are going to do about it. So one of the ways I had to do this with myself is the standards I set with myself around emotional eating. I used to use emotional eating as a coping tool for my trauma that I experienced. No, I am not at fault for the trauma that happened to me, but I am responsible for choosing to do a different coping skill and learning to feel my feelings. I used to feel like my feelings were going to consume me. I was terrified to feel them. I thought if I opened up that door, they would just rush in and overtake me and I would never be okay. But I've learned that feelings are feedback, they are not facts, and if you allow them to come and have a presence and release them, they flow through and you will find yourself being able to handle your emotions. Boundaries, when you start saying no, and when you're practicing your boundaries and you start saying no, what you're really doing is you're saying yes. So in that example of not calling me after 9 p.m., maybe I don't want you to call me after 9 p.m. because at 9:15, I want to read a book to my child. And I choose based on my values that reading a book to my child is more important than talking on the phone to you. So by saying no to you, I'm saying yes to what matters most to me. No empowers you. No empowers you, it liberates you, and allows you to operate in integrity. I know some of you may be feeling, if you start saying no, because you've been taking on the responsibility of others for so long, that things might fall apart, and you're scared about what will happen to your loved ones if you stop doing everything for them. For my daughter, I definitely was guilty of this. I was really concerned about her success and her well-being, and I used to push her a lot into college because I knew that that was a way for her to be able to earn a living, because again, the cost of living is so high, and I wanted her to have the best chance to be able to afford a home and groceries and all that good stuff. And because I was pushing her, she got a little resistance. It wasn't really good for her. And what I realized is when I stepped back and I allowed her to have space to find herself, she ended up going to college, and now she is internally motivated, which is so much more powerful than the external motivation and pressure that I was putting on her. When we say no to others, we empower them to say yes to themselves as we say yes to ourselves. They are able to stand on their own 2 feet. Thank you. The next part of the ABCs of authenticity is conflict management. Everybody say conflict management. I love it. Thank you. Anybody conflict avoidant like me? All right, I'm not alone. Thank you. So I used to hate conflict. I wanted everyone to just be nice and to get along, and I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I didn't want anybody to get upset with me. But what I realized is that I wasn't being honest. And conflict management requires us to be honest about our capacities and our desires. If you don't want to do something, it does not serve anyone for you to force yourself into doing things that do not serve you. This includes asking for help. Asking for help is a sign of empowerment, not a sign of weakness. And it requires you to be vulnerable and to stop being performative. You deserve relationships where you do not have to pretend to be someone else, where you can take your mask off and be the true, authentic you. We must have faith that through conflict management, we will end up with the best connections. Because conflict isn't bad, it is completely normal. It is a natural part of all relationships. All conflict is you have your viewpoints, I have my viewpoints. We've grown up in completely different worlds. We have different ideologies. It's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with you or nothing wrong with me. We just see the world differently. And so all we're trying to do is find a way for us to align in how we can move forward. That is all conflict is. An 85-year Harvard study found that positive quality relationships was the #1 contributor to happiness. It also improves your well-being and your longevity. You deserve quality relationships where you can be the authentic you. When you say no, the dynamics of your relationships will change. This is normal, it is expected, it is okay. But you will be surprised about how many people get on board with you and change with you and get excited about your change. So when we set boundaries, we're teaching people how to love us. So I like to think of boundaries like a gate instead of being like a wall. So in that same example of the 9 p.m., when I tell you to call me before 9 p.m., you know that if you want to love on me, if you want to be there for me, then you need to do it before 9 p.m. So you know where the gate is, you know where the entrance is, you know how to love me. Unfortunately, though, there will be some people in our lives who have just been so used to being takers, and they don't know how to be with you when you're not an overgiver. You will have to grieve the loss of some relationships. In those situations, I encourage you to have gratitude for the time you had together, hope for the future, and to not take it personally. Again, it is just about alignment. And trust that this now gives you freedom for you to be your authentic self and find the people who align with you, and them to go find the people who align with them. There are 7 billion people on this planet. I promise you, your people are out there. These are the ABCs of authenticity that I've taught you today. It is how you master self-leadership and live in authenticity, because authenticity is your superpower. This is how you take back control and do less of the things that do not align with you and do not serve you. This is how you gain peace and freedom and joy and rest and be able to relax instead of being tense and performative all the time. You will sleep better at night because when you go to bed, you will know that you operated the entire day in integrity. You will know that you made the decisions and that you did your best and that you have confidence in your decisions. And even on the bad days, you will learn how to have grace with yourself because you will stop being so hard on yourself. You'll learn to stop taking things personally, and you'll learn how to let other people's opinions be just that, their opinion. Your no's will start becoming intentional. You'll be excited about saying no because you have meaning behind your no. You will no longer have guilt behind your no. You will have the freedom to be your weird, quirky self. You'll be free to let your guard down and be the authentic self who you really are. And you'll have time for your hobbies. Like, who in here struggles to make time for the things they want to do? The fun things, the joy, the hobbies. Yes. You will have time for that, whether it's crafting or playing video games or whatever it is. You will have the time and the space and the energy for that because you're not giving everything to the energy leeches of your life. You will find yourself that you are better for yourself, and as a result, you will be better for others. You will find that you have a life well lived. The UN says that when women have the money, child nutrition, health, and education improves. So not only will you improve, but society will improve when you are at your best. You will learn how to teach the people in your lives to be their best. You will be able to teach the women in your lives, the children in your lives, the men in your lives to be able to improve and become better. So I want to encourage you to not look at your circumstances as the end-all be-all. I want to encourage you to look up and look out and believe that change is possible and that you can do more by having less. Thank you for listening. My name is Anna Stewart, and I am a women's empowerment coach. You can reach me at anna@hcwcoaching.com or come see me at my booth. I really appreciate you guys being here today. Thank you. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that.